to I-24 News Defense, your weekly review of strategic affairs, security, intelligence, and more, brought to you in cooperation with Israel Defense Magazine. Tonight we'll check recent developments in Syria after another round of talks to find an end to the ongoing war have failed, and explore the security challenges of the Sochi Winter Olympic Games just a day ahead. But before we begin, let's take a look at what else is happening in the world.
Begin in the Arabian Sea, where the American aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman is in the Gulf of Oman, off the Iranian coast. Its 5,000 sailors are working together for the first time with the French military, operating from the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. Together in strategic waters, their mutual objective is to ensure security and stability. Moving to Libya, which claims that its chemical weapons have been destroyed. The destruction was an important milestone for Libya, fulfilling its obligations under the Chemical Weapons Convention. Libya has become free of usable chemical weapons that might present a potential threat. According to a U.S. senior official, the weapons destroyed were 517 artillery shells, 8 250-kilogram bombs, and 45 tubes, all filled with mustard gas. And in Germany, some 400 leading international political and military figures and representatives of defense contractors, banks and corporations gathered at the Munich Security Conference, discussing issues like Iran's nuclear program, Middle East peace talks, Syria's never-ending civil war and global terrorism. One thing was unanimously agreed: to meet again next year.
With the failure of Geneva II conference and growing criticism in Washington on Obama's administration mishandling Syria's crisis, it seems that the end of the bloody civil war is more far than ever. Before we discuss the recent developments, here is a report by I-24 News correspondent Uri Shapira.
A day after John Kerry was quoted by congressmen saying he thinks his administration has failed to deal with the situation in Syria, more and more similar voices are being heard from Washington's top officials.
In your professional opinion,
Yesterday, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Roger slammed Obama's policy and described it as a complete failure.
This lack of leadership has created growing risk aversion within our intelligence agencies. As al-Qaeda has morphed and spread throughout Yemen, Syria, the Levant, and Africa, we have piled on here in Washington, D.C., even more bureaucracy on our intelligence agencies.
Even the destruction of chemical weapons, considered as a great diplomatic achievement of the international community, is now getting cold water thrown on it. Director of National Intelligence James Clapper suggests this action actually strengthens Syrian President Bashar al-Assad.
If he doesn't go, in the absence of some kind of a diplomatic agreement ensuing from Geneva or follow-on discussions, I would foresee kind of more of the same, sort of a perpetual state of stalemate where neither the regime nor the opposition can prevail.
As the debate in Washington continues, Syria is still bleeding, torn, and divided. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry defined the recent barrel bombing in the city of Aleppo as the last barbaric act of the Syrian regime. More than 150 people were killed over the last few days from airstrikes in the region. With so many problems in and outside of the region, Americans are still searching reconciliation, perhaps not only in Syria, but within the Obama administration.
Joining me now in the studio is Dr. Reuven Berko, Middle East analyst for Israel Hayom daily newspaper. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
A few months ago, it seemed like Bashar al-Assad is ready for a change, ready to comply with the chemical weapons agreement. Months has passed, but the only change we see is more army brutality.
Yes, unfortunately, these days we see that even escalation is occurring in the field. The more barrels, more neighborhoods are bombed by the army, the Syrian army. And on the other hand, we see increasing in Islamic radicalism, radical organization acting in the field, and the massacres all around Syria are increasing day by day. On the other hand, all the agreements that has been made with the Syrian regime are seeming as illusion that the Americans and the West felt into it without paying attention that it was only words.
He is not meeting the deadlines?
Not only that, but the amounts of chemical weapons that has been till today supplied in order to destroy it in the sea are very few. And unfortunately, in the Middle East, we interpret it as a weakness of the Obama administration, not only because they couldn't even fulfill what they've agreed about with the Syrian regime and Russia, Putin, Russia, but we see that the signs are to show that all agreements has been made with Iran are already judged to the same destiny.
This week, the Russian foreign minister met with the representatives of the opposition in Syria. Are they the opposite side of Bashar?
The opposition has begun actually by General Salim Idris, who maybe would have gained the support of the West if things would begin and continue the way he planned to do, because he was secular and because he offered it an alternative which the West would support in case Bashar al-Assad would put aside and a secular representative government would be established. What happened? Along the days, radical Islamists joined the game, and the radical Islamists are fighting Salim General Idris by themselves. They cannot even agree upon one agenda.
Right.
Even the radical organizations are fighting each other. We can see.
Right, so they cannot influence on what is happening on the
they
field.
cannot crystallize one voice.
In your opinion, what will be a game changer in this war?
Actually, and unfortunately, I can't predict that there will be any change. Both sides are, walking on the same route, the same direction, without any factor that can be involved in it. By the way, two of the demands of the so-called opposition, which is not crystallized, we already emphasized, are not to allow Bashar al-Assad appear in the government again as a nominee. But he insists on doing so. And the story of Iran, who is the cause of what's happening in Syria, that insists on participating in it. And the process that shows the future is that America abandoning or avoiding the achievements of Al-Qaeda and other...
Yes, and that's what I want to talk about. If there's no opposition on the ground, are the 30,000 jihadists in the field, are they the alternative?
That's the point. There's no alternative, actually, in the Syrian arena. We see that both sides are bad, but one should choose the less of the bad, which is Bashar al-Assad. That brings us to the understanding that America are surprisingly support the nexus of Iran, Iraq, Shia, Hezbollah, and Syrian regime.
Dr. Berko, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Koakai, which is Hawaiian for a sea warrior, is an integrated maritime exercise. One of the major changes to this year's exercise was integrating the 25th Combat Aviation Brigade, or CAB, rotary wing aircraft aboard the naval ships. Let's take a look at some actions.
25th Combat Aviation Brigade helicopters took part in Exercise Koakai 2014. The Army's ability to land helicopters on Navy ships at sea allows them to support Navy missions through resupply, personnel movement, and medical evacuations. Soldiers also set up a shore-based simulated deployed location on nearby Kauai Island in order to practice the ship-to-shore missions.
We want to be able to operate jointly with the Navy so that way we can see what we're going to experience should we have to deploy somewhere in the Pacific. We'll know how to launch and recover two Navy ships.
It's us and the Navy in direct working relationship, and we're building on these relationships from the bottom at the squad level all the way up to through the brigade and into the division level as we interact with their 3rd Fleet.
The brigade's leadership also said the ability to launch and land helicopters from Navy ships gives them more flexibility in operating along the Pacific's island and coastal environments.
Moving on, Sochi Winter Olympic Games is just a day ahead, but instead of focusing on ski jumps and figure skating, the world is focusing on the security threats surrounding the $50 billion operation. More in this next report here.
Only days away from the opening of the Sochi 2014 Winter Olympics, IOC President Thomas Bach said organizers of the Games had no other options but to address security threats.
We have to address this because anything else, the alternative would be to surrender to terrorists. Every organizer has to make sure that the Games are as safe and secure as possible.
Bach added he had full confidence in the Russian authorities in keeping the Games safe. American President Barack Obama will not attend the Games, but address the security threats in an interview.
The Russian authorities understand the stakes here. They understand that there are potential threats that are out there, and in these large settings like this, there are always some risks involved. And I don't want to completely discount those, but as we've seen here in the United States, and at the Boston Marathon, I mean, there were some risks if you have lone wolves or small cells of folks who are trying to do some damage.
Earlier on Monday, a Moscow high school student shot a teacher and a police officer dead and held more than 20 other student hostages in a classroom in a possible revenge attack, just days before Russia hosts the Winter Olympics under tight security.
Joining me now in the studio is Guy Tsuri, VP for Marketing at HLS division of Tamar Group, and a security expert. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening.
So when you come to plan a security plan for an event this size, what are you focusing on?
When we are starting to plan security package for that kind of mega event, first of all, we need to start in the determining the level of threat and the risk assessment. This is the first stage before doing the procurement of technology and knowing what kind of security agencies need to be involved. You need to determine what kind of threat level you're facing. The second level is now when you know what you are dealing with is to build the right security package. That the security package, as we said in Israel, based on the Israeli doctrine, will be many multiply layers of security that will combine advanced technology, physical barriers, and the right security personnel.
And you spoke in a generally about that. Let's talk about the Sochi Olympic Games. Soft spots. It's a major event.
Yeah. It's a major event. The Winter Olympic Games. It's the brother of the Summer Olympic Game, which is even larger. The challenging in security that kind of event is that you need to deal with new threats that not always you have in your countries because you are hosting a foreign delegation from all around the world. You are not just bringing sportsmen and sportswomen to play and to have fun. You're also bringing a lot of threats that you didn't be aware of or you didn't know how to deal with it in the past.
Like what?
Like global terror or crime that several countries have. Now you need to secure foreign delegation. This is a huge event. The media is there. Everybody is looking on this area, and the global terror or the terror organization see it also as a challenge to pass their message and to try to do their attack in that kind of event.
Right. I mean, and the games are distributed among a wide range of areas. So, is it even possible to assure that the plan is working and the security is tight?
There's never 100%, but when you are building that kind of security package, you provide a ring of security, and you need to build a doctrine. That means that you have, for example, technology that could monitor and could bring you a live image and the right data to the operational room every second and every minute. But you need also to have a trained security guard that will know what to do if something happens. Sometimes it's almost impossible to prevent, but you can minimize the effect of the terror attack or the incidents, because security is not just a terror. Security is also dealing with public order, A small event inside of a stadium could cause many casualties.
Can we count on the Russian authorities? Are they trained enough?
First of all, the Russian have a lot of experience. They are trained enough. The question is if they did the right preparation. This it's hard for me to say, but when you are approaching that kind of project, you're starting to work on that 3 or 4 years before. Because Sochi event, we know that they are going to host the games for many years, and also the terror organization know that.
Gaitsuli, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is all we had time for. Be sure to catch us next week for another edition of I-24 News Defense Magazine. For all the latest headlines, log on to i24news.tv. Have a safe night from Jaffa Port. Good night.